G'day everyone, it's Justin and
Scott.
Two dads again from Broome, Australia, and we're coming to you today from a Toyota Kluger. Now mate, this is our first Toyota on the channel.
It is,
isn't it?
which is very exciting.
Yeah, which is good. So we're in the Kluger today, which is Toyota's 7-seat SUV. Now, the one that we're in today is the mid-range one. This is the GXL. It's got a list price of $54,950. It's a two-wheel drive, 8-speed automatic SUV. They also have the option of all-wheel drive for an extra $4,000. And the range of Klugers, I think, starts off at about $44.5 grand for a GX list price, going all the way up to the Grande all-wheel drive, top of the range at $69,617. We're in a 3.5 V6, which is in today's market a little bit different, isn't it?
It is a bit old school.
Old school.
Yeah, a bit what we would have seen a few years ago, more commonly than we do now.
Yeah. 218 kilowatts at 6,600 RPM, 350 Newton meters of torque at 4,700 RPM. As I mentioned, 8-speed automatic now. It's got a fuel consumption of about 9.1 litres per 100 k's. That's the factory combined figure. She weighs about 1,980 kilos, and it's got a bit of a towing capacity of about 2,000 kilos there. Now, mate, interesting point, I suppose. You used to own one of these, didn't you?
That's why I was keen to put my hand up and have a drive of this today, because yes, I've
okay.
got a bit of a great history with the Toyota Kluger.
Well, tell us the background. Why did you buy one of these?
I was at that stage of my life where I had to carry around 4 kids, 2 dogs regularly, so I really had the ultimate family requirements.
Right, okay.
And when I tossed up the cars that really had that extra third row of seats, which was probably the most important criteria, and I wanted to do some other stuff, I found the combination between getting the all-wheel drive, because I do a bit of beach stuff. Yep. Just the occasional bit, but it was more than capable for doing that. I also got the tow bar put on, so it has a bit of the towing capacity, so the occasional bit of towing. And it just did the family thing so well that, I thought the combination was brilliant. So
Mate, you've had a drive of this thing. You've owned one of these before.
Yep.
Give us your driving impressions. What do you think?
I remember driving mine and never thinking I was really without power, right? You can, for a big car, this thing gets around and does what it does.
Even when it was loaded too?
Yeah, even when it was loaded.
Okay.
I felt it was always capable, and it's quite a quiet car, so even on the open road, it just sits on the road beautifully.
I think that's what its element would be.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it'd be nice on the open road. You've got power to overtake. It's a smooth V6. It's comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But around the streets, just like here now, it's more than capable. I think. I mentioned earlier the steering. It's maybe a little on the light side. Yep. Not as direct as I'd like. But it's okay. It's good. The engine performs admirably. The brakes do a good job. Just the whole comfort of sitting behind this car. You sit up very high. Yeah. So if that's for you, this is a car to consider. And everything's wrapped around you very nicely. I feel like the ergonomics work really well.
Yeah. I think for mums and dads that want a big car, but this one to me, it didn't really shrink when I was driving it. Yep. But I didn't mind that either. Like you say, it's actually a very nice place to be. It's smooth. It's quiet. The ride's actually very, very nice. Yep. I like the V6 in this thing because it's just reminding me of old school Falcon and Commodore in terms of that syrupy sort of 6-cylinder engine, torquey. In today's world of turbo 4s and things like that powering SUVs, this is actually old school, but in a good way. I like it actually. Yeah. Yep. Purely from a family friendly point of view, I think this thing feels like it could deal with everything that a family could chuck at it. Like it's actually got hard wearing plastics that look like they're pretty solid. Yes. Flat floor, they have done a bit of thought to it, but I'd probably have to say too, old school is probably the operative word. There are other SUVs out there a bit newer than this one, Like for example, like I could only find one USB port in the front on this thing.
And the last couple of years we've really started seeing USB ports thrown all over the place. They're a couple of bucks, right? So for the practicality and a family thing, that's something to consider.
Yeah, but it has got plenty of room. The seats in the middle row are 60-40.
I sat in the middle row and I just felt so comfortable. When I had my Kluger, quite often did long road trips with the boys. And, I'm the shortest of the boys, and honestly, this is a very comfortable car for 6 foot plus people. There's still a lot of headroom in the front and the back and everything. So if you're taller, it's a great car to consider. And that third row, I mean, as an adult, I wouldn't want to be in there for too long, but I could sit in there reasonably comfortably. And the seats in the third row also tilted back a little bit as well, so it wasn't too upright like a lot of third row seats are.
Yep, that's right.
So that was also quite a positive. Hey, some of the insides too, we think very impressive. This centre console, people can see it. It is massive. Put my wardrobe in there.
I think it's designed for handbags, actually, for mums when they drive the cars. You put your handbag in there. Yeah, but
you don't have a handbag?
No.
No? You want to try it? Oh, okay.
But even this thing here,
there's some extra storage
in the front that you can, and it's even got enough that you can put a phone or something and put your cable down underneath it to the USB port.
Yeah, that's a bit of a good thought there.
Yeah, which is good. Now, some of the safety features in the 2018 version here, adaptive cruise control. It's got pre-collision safety with pedestrian recognition in all of them. That's like Toyota's version of city braking, I guess.
Yep.
You also get lane departure warning, which is good for a big car like this thing. Rear parking sensors are standard. On the GXL, you get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors, which I think you kind of need with a car this big. Rear cross traffic alert, which is standard on it as well, which is great when you back out of a driveway and everything. So yeah, it has got a fair amount of safety features. The 8-inch screen here actually has DAB. It's got nav, but it looks a little bit old school, I suppose, compared to some of the ones that you see in some of the competitor cars today.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's all functional, it all works, but yeah, I think in terms of the graphics and all that, there's some that are a bit better.
A bit of technology is evolving very quickly.
Yeah. But the GXL comes with a few more luxury features and things, like you're sitting in the 12-way leather-bound driver electric seat, which is good.
Comfortable.
Yep. Heated seats front as well. Keyless entry, power tailgate as well, and it's got that pop-up hatch in the back too.
Yeah, something I really appreciated on my Kluger was that extra glass panel that just opens if you want to throw some shopping in really quickly rather than opening the whole tailgate.
But I got to say,
quite a large tailgate.
If you're not that tall, it's pretty useless, unfortunately. Like
I can't reach over.
I can't reach over. It's too big.
True. Yeah. Absolutely. But I've missed it on cars I've had subsequent to that. Once you've had it, it's quite a nice feature.
Now, mate, the only sort of negative things I can probably think about this thing relate to sort of after you buy it, unfortunately. Like it comes with a 3-year 100,000 warranty, and in the world of like 5-year warranties now and things like that,
no, I don't think it's enough.
And the other thing, servicing on the thing, every 6 months or 10,000 Ks. That's the recommended service schedule for one of these as well. I mean, admittedly, there's cap price servicing.
Yes.
But that's fairly regular.
I think for a family, we talk about the family friendliness, having to take the car in every 6 months to get a service, and a lot of other cars now are 12 months. That's not a great thing.
No. Now, mate, X Factor question. What do you think? Is this something? I mean, personally, I think it's a practical car. It's not like it's something. It's
100% practical. It's designed to be practical. It's achieving its goal. It's a great family car for a large family or people with dogs and everything else they need to transport around. This thing does it well. Is it something I'll look back at? It might be hard to miss. It's a pretty big car. But
and they have upgraded it a little bit. Like they have freshened it up. This is been upgraded with the grille and all that kind of stuff too.
And I mean the design, I suppose, is reflective of this is only sold in the US and Australia as well.
That's true.
So probably doesn't have those European influences or anything. So, but it's not a car I'm probably going to look back at, to be honest.
It has been out for
about
a
practicality.
while, this car too. So
and I think that's worth noting. It's a few years old, right? So it's not a brand new release. So people will probably notice a few things that are a little older on this car than other cars that are just hitting the market now.
But in summary, for your ownership experience, you were saying, you told me before, mate, like the resale value was really good on one of these, wasn't it?
Yeah. I had mine 7 years,
Yeah.
and even at the end of that, we hardly wanted to get rid of it because it just did the job so well.
Okay.
It was only when we really didn't need it, had such a big car for all that practicality. So 7 years, and when I sold it, I think I got an amazing price basically after 7 years.
Wow.
It was still in good nick and everything, but yeah, I was really impressed by the resale. So it's one of the great things about Toyota is, you know, you do get good resale.
Yep.
And I think on this car particularly is that families are still looking for these even when they're a few years old.
Yep.
I think I sold it in like 2 days and got a great price. So you can't say much more about that than car ownership. It's a pretty good telltale.
Anyway, just want to put out a big thank you to our friends at Toyota Australia for the loan of the Kluger.
Yep.
I think it was interesting for Scott to jump back in. one
Yeah,
after a while,
reliving a bit of memories.
Yeah, which is good. So, so just want to say thank you.
Thanks very much.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys.